Welcome to 0 to 60. I'm Bree, that's Matt, and it's someone's birthday today.
It sure is.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. 42.
That's not old whatsoever.
Not.
How are you celebrating?
I'm in my prime, so I'm gonna take a nap later today because that's very, very 40ish thing to do. And then just nice quiet evening. Watch the Jets get a dub. I've already been to the lab this morning at 5 a.m. Got the grind in and a little dinner, little football, little hangout. It'll be a great night.
Monday Night Football, Jets versus Chargers now on Friday. You took the Chargers, and now I feel like you want to change your mind this morning. So I assume you're taking the Jets.
Yeah, I don't recall taking the Chargers, but I know it happened. I just don't recall it. I think the Jets have a real chance this evening to put kind of the league on notice to how good their defense really is. The Manhattan Milf Hunter has been average, but good enough to win. Although the last offensive football game against the Giants was just, one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen by a unit. They had 26 punts, I think. The NFL record was 28. So, look, the Jets have an uphill battle, no doubt. Herbert's a better player. The Chargers are a better team. But when you have a defense that travels like that, man, in a big-time environment where the whole world's watching, I would not be surprised at all if they come out tonight and really play their asses off. And the Chargers, as you know, always Charger. That's what they do. So.
All right. Well, 0 to 60 is sponsored by Bet Online, and we're a bunch of degenerates here. We'll be placing bets for Monday Night Football. The last of the major pro sports leagues is off and rolling, and college basketball is ready to go as well. Bet Online remains your top spot for all your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL, they're all in full swing, and Bet Online is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, predictions, all the hoops betting actions along with every sport. It's available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time. So you need to head on over to Bet Online today and remember to use our promo code, that's BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. So we're going to make sure we're using that tonight. The Jets games tend to be lower scoring, so I think I would take the under here. It is a home game for the Jets, so I think the spread, I believe it's 3.5. Correct me if I'm wrong. They've sneakily won 3 straight. Have they turned it around?
You have to say they've turned. I don't know if they've turned it around, but they've definitely made a hard right. And when you lose Aaron Rodgers, you've got to change. And they've leaned on their running game. They lost Connor McGovern last week, their starting center, who's Dunn's a family guy and a guy I've been working with for a while. So that'll be interesting tonight to see how the quarterback and the center operate. But man, they've had to change a lot really fast after banking on the fact that they were going to be pretty good. So 4-3 is a good spot to be if they can figure out a way to pull this one out tonight, sitting at 5-3 with everything in front of them. Buffalo twice, that's where you want to be if you're a Jet fan, and God knows I am, and it's a curse, all right? Look, I played for the Jets, all right, so I have to love them. We're cursed. This is what happens when you're a Jet fan. We're like, get just this close and then fuck it up.
Well, it doesn't sound like you've bought in that Zach Wilson is playing better. Do you think he can lead the team to a post run?
Man, that's a tough. Yeah, I think we can get there, but he's not going to win anything. Look, they will win in
much like Aaron Rodgers.
The man has a ring and 4 MVPs.
How long ago?
Oh my! Just because you don't like Aaron Rodgers doesn't mean he's not.
Just because you like Aaron Rodgers doesn't mean he is.
When he comes back this year and leads them to victory in the playoffs. Yeah, this year. That ayahuasca is doing marvelous shit to his Achilles.
He's not the $1 million man. Like, he's not just going to come back and be bionic.
We can build him stronger. I disagree.
Listen, you mentioned the run game. Breece Hall's yards are set at 57.5. I know it's a lot, but against this Chargers defense, it's been basically hemorrhaging points. Is the run game going to be specific to a win tonight for the Jets?
Oh, yeah. If they don't put 150, 180 yards rushing on the Chargers, they don't have a chance to win. So they have to hammer the football.
Okay.
What did you say, 57.5?
57.5, yeah.
Over?
Yes.
Like
I'm going to take over.
They're saying that he won't make 57 yards. He might do that in the first quarter,
I'm just
judging by
saying.
how much they're going to feed him the rock. Yeah, I would take the over on that for sure.
All right.
On Bet Online.
Okay, it's hard to predict interceptions, but Justin Herbert, which you called a good quarterback, has had a pass intercepted in the 3 of his past 4 games. I'm going to say it happens again tonight. So it's over a half interception.
Yeah, I would take the over on that too. Look, the Jets' opportunistic secondary is going to play just like that. And he's going to try and fit it into windows. And he's a gunslinger, so he'll try and do some stuff tonight that will get him beat. And I can handle an interception every week. I can't handle multiple.
Okay, not multiple for Justin Herbert, although I'm going to challenge a little bit your idea that he's also a good quarterback. There's a conversation with Justin Herbert and Josh Allen at the top tier in the league for being elite quarterbacks. What we've seen, though, is they're not traditionally able to get it done. You said the Chargers continue to charger. We saw the Bills continue to bill. I don't think we can make that a thing, but Bengals versus Bills. I told you to take the under, Matt. Yes, I did say that I was pretty sure Allen would have an inefficient day in Cincinnati and against a defense that continues to improve. So they continue to struggle on third down and explosive plays, but they held Josh Allen to 1 touchdown. He had 285 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He fails to get it done in a roller coaster career, making the playoffs every season. Is it enough? And yes, that was another Aaron Rodgers dig. You're welcome.
Look, I should always listen to you when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I'll start. But you did say take the under, and you did say that Josh Allen was going to underperform last night, and he did. And then I said that Joe Burrow wouldn't go over 270, and he went for 350.
You were right. I was wrong. Yeah, You're smart. I'm dumb.
Yeah, I know. So last night was bad. It was bad. You were right. I was wrong. These are facts. All that said, I'd rather have Allen or Herbert over Russell Wilson or the variety of other quarterbacks in this league. So although they are faulted, they are in the playoffs a lot. So I'd rather be there and have to figure the problem out than be like irrelevant at the quarterback position.
So you'd rather go. Okay, let's get into this conversation because we have time. Hector's jumping over from Coach B's show. Hello, Hector. Thanks for joining.
What's up, brother?
You got a happy birthday from everyone. Good morning from Beyond the Badge. Matt and Bree, happy birthday, big dog. I know. We're going to celebrate his birthday all day today, whether he likes it or not, although he does.
All day.
I didn't get him a cowbell. I thought about it. It couldn't get rush ordered. And unfortunately, he's stuck with the buffalo you see behind him.
I think we might need to tell everybody what happened on Friday night.
We'll get into that in just a second.
That's a topic of its own.
That's why I created an entire topic to discuss it. I want to talk about the idea that if you go to the playoffs year in and year out, is that better than middling or worse? We'll specifically use the Broncos here as they continue to use their QB carousel as some kind of wicked roller coaster for the idea that you need a quarterback in order to make it through the playoffs or just make a postseason run. I don't know if I love the idea of continuing to say it's our year, it's our year, it's our year. The Bills have done that continuously for the last 4 seasons, and they haven't been able to make that final push. A lot of that is due to the quarterbacking. So how frustrating is it to be a quarterback away and not be able to get it done, or to think you're a quarterback away from at least turning the entire organization around?
Oh, man. So I guess, look, both positions are frustrating because if you're a quarterback away in the playoffs, you should have a ring on your finger. And honestly, Buffalo should have made at least a Super Bowl. The Kansas City nightmare AFC title game where they just let Kelsey and Hill release with no pressure and they're up and it's like a 99.8% win percentage and they lose in overtime. That's a very Buffalo thing to do. This is what the Bills do. When you say the Bills bill, this is what they do. The Bills William so hard. They will William the shit out of a season.
Yep.
Now, that said, before Josh Allen got there, Tyrod Taylor did take them to the playoffs once. They lost 10-3 at Jacksonville, if I remember correctly. It was the ugliest playoff game I've ever seen. Before that, though, they had 20 years of obscurity where they couldn't beat Tom Brady. I think he was like 38-3 or some shit against him. And they had to consistently watch one franchise, and I played in the AFC East during this time, absolutely shit stomp everybody else in the entire division. No one had a chance. The only time I remember anybody else hosting a playoff game was in 2008 when I was part of a Dolphin team that happened to win the division. Yet the Patriots were 11-5, and Tom Brady got hurt the first week of the season, and Matt Castle threw for like 4,500 yards. So even though they didn't make the playoffs that year at 11-5, think about that, they were still an elite team. So look, I would much rather be in the playoffs every year with a guy who can take us there and win regular season games and then give us a chance, because NFL guys, all we care about is getting into the tournament. Get us into the tournament, and whatever happens, happens. Everything needs to go right. It's crazy. It's super hard. I mean, getting a ring in this league, I made the playoffs twice, and I got beat in the wild card round twice. It is really, really hard. If you're part of a team, I don't care if you're on the practice squad, if you're an IR guy, if you're part of a team that wins a Super Bowl, that shit is hard. Mm-hmm. I would much rather struggle to get there in the playoffs than consistently just be this horse shit that we hear in Denver constantly. Same thing they hear in Vegas, the same thing they hear. Honestly, they're going to start hearing it with the Chargers going full circle. The same thing we're hearing with the Jets. We're a quarterback away. And that's a quarterback away from playoff contention. That's not a quarterback away from actually contending, because you have to get to the dance before you can contend. So I would rather draft and develop than free agent, but at the same time, that narrative can be changed quickly if the free agents play well. So in this league, if you don't have a quarterback that can change things at the line of scrimmage and put you in a position to be successful, and a coach that can play into that, I don't think you have a chance. And when I say chance, I don't mean just getting to the playoffs. So I would much rather have a Josh Allen that gets us there, and I'm frustrated with the outcome at the end of the season, than just be frustrated for the entire season about just some chump that can't get us anywhere, yet is being paid like the most elite player in the game. So when you're making $50 million, well, I'm going to either find 50 million reasons to compliment you or 50 million reasons to criticize you. And when you lose, that's just not going to work when you make that kind of bread.
I also want to get in my last dig of this segment, because Joe Burrow blew past the over on passing yards, ending the night with 348. That's another bet that you tried to take the under on. The Bengals are making a solid push for the playoffs with a 4-game win streak, and they'll face CJ Stroud and the Houston team, and face the on-fire Ravens the following week, who lead the AFC North. Honestly, the rest of the teams, the last 3 in that division, are all the same record. So the Bengals are on the up and up. The Ravens are leading the charge. But next up, the Bills welcome the Broncos next weekend in Buffalo. And in the meantime, I think we're being invoiced for a cowbell. If you'll let everybody know what happened this weekend, as Rick Lewis and the Rick Lewis Project brought you up on stage for a very happy birthday treat and gave you the opportunity to lead some percussion. It was a sight to behold. If you want to see it, you can go on over to Twitter. I have the video floating around somewhere. If I get enough likes on this video and you comment down below that you want to see the cowbell video, I might just post it on this channel. Oh,
shit. Start hammering that like button, because this, my friends, was it. Look, I'm no rock star, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and I'm telling you, so we went to the Buffalo Rose, right?
Yeah.
Up in Golden. It was super dope. Super dope. Come on, just say it. Dope. It was so fucking dope. And my man, Rick Lewis, who is the head of the Rick Lewis Project, and obviously like the godfather of radio in the state of Colorado, the color commentator for the Broncos and so many other things. Rick Lewis show on 103.5 The Fox every morning. And he's my radio mentor, and he's the guy who, got me involved in this crazy ass business. And we went to support his band the other night, and they rocked. They fucking rocked. And what was do you even remember the song?
Which you were playing cowbell on?
I can't remember the song I was playing cowbell
videos
on, but I got up there, and he called me out in front of everybody, and I'd go up there, and I rocked the shit out of that fucking cowbell. I got a blister right there. You see that fucking blister? That's a cowbell blister, okay? Now I know how pitchers feel. I can't work the cowbell for 15 fucking days because I need this blister to heal. I was rocking the shit out of that cowbell. It was rolling. I'm telling you. I felt like a way sexier version of Will Ferrell and funnier, sexier and funnier, and just a bop, 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 right on the 1, 2, 3. Right when they dropped the 3, I started fucking percussioning. It was awesome. I'm telling you, I percussioned the fuck out of that cowbell. I'm super proud of it, and now I'm a rock star too. So if you thought my fucking ego was big beforehand, just wait. Now I'm 42. I look like I'm 25. Somebody told me around my son the other day, is that your brother? And I was like, no, I'm his dad. And they're like, oh my God, you look like brothers. Yeah, sexy as fuck at 42. Cowbell this motherfucker. Happy Monday. Let's go.
I don't know who's had 4 cups of coffee, but it's probably Matt. Somebody had a question over here about the Raiders. I'm going to jump into it was about the Giants. Obviously, Daniel Jones suffering quite the injury. So we'll talk about the Raiders and the Giants. So the Raiders were able to resist a McDaniels hangover in the late hours following the loss to the Detroit Lions. Basically after losing the locker room, which honestly is no surprise to anybody who knows him. Reports had surfaced last week that players, coaches turned the tables on McDaniels and basically ripped him apart prior to his final game as a head coach and possibly forever in this league. I think the onslaught did its job because the diminishing damage that McDaniels has done to 2 organizations now has basically opened the door for his departure from the league in its entirety. His second firing midseason. Broncos country is sorry, but also not sorry that this happened. On Sunday, the team rallied around their interim coach, Antonio Pierce, responding very positively the removal of the cancerous entity. And it's not shocking, but the Raiders were facing a very shaky Giants team. So before we start saying this is some miraculous effort here, I don't think the result could have gone much better for the Raiders, who led 24-0 by halftime. They won 30-6, and now Daniel Jones is feared to have suffered a very severe knee injury. We haven't received word back what that exactly is, but it happened in the second quarter. I want to know, what was your reaction? Were you surprised? Were you shocked? What kind of electricity leans to a team rallying to this effort? Because Josh Jacobs even said the vibe and the energy is just electric right now. It's the most connected I've felt that we've been as a unit.
Yeah, and look, I know Antonio Pierce personally, not only for playing against them, but excuse me, but he was a linebacker coach at Arizona State when Coach Herm was there. And Coach Herm Edwards was my first coach in the NFL, and that's how this all works. Where's Broncos country around here? Don't get it twisted. But I don't know if I've ever rooted for the Raiders harder in my life than the other day. And I love Max Crosby. He's my guy. He'll be on the show after the offseason. Make sure you check out his podcast also. The way that team came together and how hard they played for Antonio Pierce, and for Antonio Pierce to get up and look, McDaniels is what he is. We've talked about this at length about how much of a cancerous turd this guy is. And I'm glad he's gone, and they're glad he's gone. And it was a bad hiring. They should have kept Rick Picachi around. If I butchered his name, I apologize. He should have been the head coach. He took him to the playoffs. Now, they can fix the mistake by allowing Antonio Pierce to run with this, because his guys obviously want to play hard for him. And when you've got McDaniels in the house or a guy like him, Belichick can get away with the condescending asshole stuff. He's got 9 Super Bowl rings or something, like 2 as an assistant and 6 as a head coach, so 8. McDaniels tries to act like Bill, and it doesn't work. It can't work. It will never work, and he'll never get another head coaching job again. If you just look at the way that the team responded to just him leaving, it's like – I feel so happy for him. Like, they get an opportunity to actually go play football. I always thought that the Raiders had a lot of good pieces. The O'Connell kid looks like he might be able to actually play within the system that they put out there on the field, where it's give Josh Jacobs the ball and get out of the fucking way. And yeah, I think that the Raiders have a chance to actually do something this year. And I would not be surprised at all, Broncos country, if the last game of the season between the Raiders and the Broncos has super significant playoff implications, because both of these teams are left for dead, but they both have a lot of life in them. And, the same way that life was breathed into the Raiders with McDaniels leaving is the same way that life was, breathed back into the Broncos after they beat the Chiefs for a long time. So both of these teams are kind of, rolling on a high note right now, and it's good to see, man. I like it when ex-players that are real. Antonio Pierce is an undrafted, baller that started with the Redskins and they let him go and he ended up with the Giants. And damn it, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the Ring of Fame and he's got a ring. So he's a real one. And I'm super impressed about the opportunity that he got and ran with. And I hope he keeps the fucking job. He's a perfect coach for the Raiders.
Your boy Max Crosby, who you just gave accolades and kudos to, had 3 of the team's 8 sacks.
Yep.
That's extreme dominance. And then in a post-game video that came out, the Raiders were celebrating with cigars. They were joyous. The morale has definitely turned around in the locker room. And honestly, if that's a resurgence the Raiders need midway through the season in order to find some success here, the Raiders are second in the AFC West, and they're obviously behind Kansas City. They face your Jets next Sunday with the Dolphins, Kansas City, and the Vikings on the horizon. Do they carry this momentum into the second half of the season? You said you want to see them win. The Raiders find a way to Raider, though. What makes this different?
Look, I don't want them to win next week. That's for damn sure. And they've got the Jets on Sunday Night Football. That'll be a good one. But they have a defense that is very underrated and opportunistic. But when you've got Baba Yaga on the field, I know I'm a huge Max Crosby fan, but watch him play. Just really watch 98 and watch how hard he plays and the attitude he brings. And it's everything I want out of defensive football players. In my opinion, as an ex-defensive lineman, when I got to play that position, the only reason I even have my vest, when I say vest, my full pension in the National Football League, is because I walked onto the field and I went as hard as I could every single fucking day until they kicked me out of the league. And that's the kind of guy he is. And not only that, I was just an average player that tried hard. He's actually an elite talent that's unbelievably gifted that also works like an average player that has to try hard. And that shit is it's eye-opening when you see it on the field. It forces everybody else to play that way or be exposed. And that's how I operate. I can't help the fact that I intimidate people. I expose their insecurity. He exposes people's insecurity on the football field. And I'm telling you, if they can figure out a way in Vegas, and I think on Sunday, that was a huge step forward to package that, really, really revolve around shots to Devontae, the young tight end Meyer from Notre Dame, and feeding Josh Jacobs and protecting their young quarterback. I think the sky's the limit for the Raiders. They can really do a lot of special shit. So, Max Crosby is the kind of guy that if you're Mark Davis, you're giving him lifetime contract shit. He's going to be an all-time great Raider when it's all said and done.
Or send him to a contender, and maybe the Raiders turn into that now that they've sort of gotten rid of what was plaguing them and eating them from the inside. But you talk about high football intelligence, and that leads me to my next segment here with Josh Dobbs. He came off the bench merely 72 hours after walking into the Vikings facility last week, and he led a thrilling victory against the Falcons. Hall goes down with a concussion. KJ Osborne gets carted off. Cam Akers is injured. His Achilles. Justin Jefferson has been sidelined. And against all odds, Josh Dobbs leads an 11-play, 75-yard game-winning drive, and a little over 2 minutes were remaining in that game. So Dobbs, we know the storyline. We know the narrative here. Not only is he rocket scientist smart, but the high football intelligence, he came in, and Kevin O'Connell basically said it was one of the most impressive things he's seen a quarterback come in and do. And it wasn't Dobbs' first rodeo. Having been thrown into the fire at Tennessee as a true freshman against Alabama, his poise, his comfortability at the position, and his ability to really slow things down in the NFL is going to spell success moving forward for him. What did you think of that showing from Dobbs? And is there a case that you really can't put anybody else in? You gotta roll with Dobbs here.
I'm telling you, that kid impressed the shit out of me. Impressed the shit out of me. For him to go to Arizona, deal with all that bullshit, play pretty well, get traded, walk in for 3 days, and go out and play like that, and lead them to a dub against a team in Atlanta who's at home, who's everybody's thinking they're going to roll because of the quarterback situation. And these guys go out here and they play like that and support him like that, and the scrambling and the on-point passing and the ability to fuck up. Like, he made some bad plays early and then overcome all of it. Him walking into the locker room and that group of men embracing him the way they did, it reminded me of Baker Mayfield last year when he did it with the Rams. You know what I'm saying? Coming back and them walking him in.
Yeah.
But this was bigger than that. I think Dobbs may have put himself in position in Minnesota to be the guy moving forward with Cousins being hurt and his contract being up. I don't know if they'll bring him back at the clip he wants. I bet you Dobbs could kind of like Geno Smith his way into Minnesota here, and they don't have to pay him a ton, but he could be a great fit for what they're trying to do. He's elusive. That is the kind of shit that this league's built on. The grunt mentality of this kid to never quit, even when he was cut at home a couple of years ago. Didn't have a job. Like, if you're a grunt mentality in the National Football League, it means not for long, and that means that you're not sitting on the fucking sofa for long if you keep working. So usually, you know, everybody says that the game's done with them, but even I got to choose when I left. Usually, guys get done with the game. They can't handle either the physical, the injuries, the moving, all the other bullshit. Dobbs seems like he just kept plugging away and stayed healthy. It's a huge part of it. Stay healthy. And then homeboy's got his opportunity and it fucking blew up. And now he's a national story. And it was already a national story because what he did in Arizona was pretty impressive. Yeah. But for them to trade him, go to Minnesota, play like that, and now Minnesota's 5-4 and like they're looking like they're going to pull out of this and make the playoffs and be a competitive football team. I mean, homeboy just made himself a ton of fucking bread, bro. Congratulations, Dobbs. I'm so proud of you, bro. Keep it the fuck up. You got a Minnesota fan over here, and I can give a shit about the Vikings.
That's Kirk Cousins slander, and I will allow it for now since it seems to be the trajectory that we're on. But I got to end the show on a little bit of disappointing news. The homecoming loss last week. Coach Prime announced play calling duties would move to Pat Shurmur, and after failing to protect Shedeur Sanders, questionable decisions along the line, and play calling that just wasn't working, Prime moved on in a different direction from Coach Lewis. I like Coach Lewis. We talked about this last week when the news dropped, and I was hoping to see a different result, a different Shurmur result, but the offense was disappointing another straight weekend with the potential to get it done. Silly end-of-half executions led Oregon State to pull ahead of the Buffs, and ultimately Colorado dropped their third straight loss. So we watched the dilapidated Buffs take their last season. Are you making raccoon noises? They completed a 180 turn. Coach Prime comes in, he changes his team around, he brings in a myriad of star talent, and yet the narrative right now in Buffs Nation went from the Buffs can win 4 games and exceed our expectations to now all of a sudden we're in panic mode and the team is doomed. The Buffs got rolling late, but I want to know, is the 8 p.m. game the kryptonite for Colorado? I know it's not the only thing, but there's not a lot of momentum going on. It's long in the day. Why is it so hard to gain momentum on the offense for the Buffs?
Look, the 8 p.m. games, I'm glad they're over. It's the Pac-12 after dark, and the Pac-12's bye-bye. So that's the last 8 p.m. game, hopefully, ever. All that said, that's an excuse. I don't give a shit what time we're playing. You got to be ready to play. And look, the defense has been outstanding the last couple of weeks. 4 turnovers at UCLA. They should have won that game based on the defensive play. You know, multiple great plays against Oregon State, giving the offense a chance to win. The snafu at the end of the first half, not running the football and then allowing them to score a touchdown when you were up 7-3, that lost them a game. They couldn't complete the comeback based on that. They lost 26-19, if I remember correctly. That lost them the football game right there. So that's the importance of time management, the importance of learning from your mistakes, and hopefully Colorado can do that. They're playing a lot better on defense, which gives me hope that they can find a way to win 2 of the next 3. Washington State and Pullman's a winnable game. Arizona's won back-to-back ranked games at home. They beat a ranked Oregon State team by 3, and they beat the absolute dog shit out of UCLA on Saturday night at the same time. So they don't have a problem playing at 8 p.m. This game's at noon, though. And Arizona's going to walk in here, and they're going to say, look, we can just beat them up front. We just dominated 2 teams that dominated Colorado. Arizona's probably, if I had to guess, they'll be ranked 25th, 24th today after beating back-to-back. They're not ranked. Well, that just pisses them off even more. So, look, Colorado has a lot of soul searching to do here, but I do believe that they win 2 of the next 3 and make a bowl game. And I know I bleed black and gold, and that's a little biased, but I don't give a shit what you think. I'm 100% doing this. And I truly believe that they've got competitors on this football team and guys who know how to win. And they did at the beginning of the season. They've got to change some things, and they played a lot better on defense the last 2 weeks. They figured something out in the second half against Oregon State, and they made a comeback, but it wasn't enough. So look, man, I could sit here and be negative like the rest of you out there that are jumping off the bandwagon, but the thing is, like, I drive the fucking bandwagon, and I'll never jump off of it. I was rolling deep last year at 1-11, so I think that this team is on the cusp of greatness, and don't be surprised if this happens. Don't be surprised if they go 5-7 and still get a bowl bid. You want to know why they're still going to get a bowl bid? Because Coach Prime's a bad motherfucker, and everybody wants to see him in a bowl game. That's why. So don't be surprised if they're a 5-7 bowl bid, which I don't like, but I'll take it. I'll take that shit because, again, it's the big guy's birthday today, and I'm going to bring this up for like the 900th time, and I hate talking about this shit, but I have to. I'm 42 years old today, and I was holding the bowl game trophy the last time we won one in 04 when I was a senior. So that's awesome. Fuck.
I don't know why we had to go there. What I would need to see from Shedeur Sanders is the momentum throughout the game. It can't be until the last quarter for him to really turn it on. Leading those game-winning drives would be great. I'd love to see him really push back that well. But honestly, it would be great to see a bull rush, no matter how it happens. I don't know what you're laughing at.
My blister hurts, okay?
Yeah, Dewey says, "Suck it up, Max." Bree can rock that cowbell.
You better
with a blister.
show these people the cowbell stuff.
I am.
If you don't show our fans these cowbells. It's only a fucking cowbell, by the way, okay? And I rock the shit out of it.
Now he's been wandering around just talking about how he's a rock star and how he can play the cowbell.
I'm telling you, look, if that's the instrument that I was born to play, then I rock that shit. I can't be the fat bassist. They already got one of those.
I mean, can you show everyone your hands and like how like to hold a cowbell is kind of ridiculous here. It looked like a child's toy, but you did a really great job. And I want to wish you a happy birthday as well because you deserve it.
Hey.
Before I get emotional, we're going to move on here and let you know that 0 to 60 will be back later on this afternoon. You'll want to make sure you catch Brandon Schaub is going to be on. He's going to join Matt to talk some more Buffaloes. They'll break it down. We did a nice job presenting what happened, but they're going to break down what happened and what's to come. Last home game is next Saturday, and that'll do it for 0 to 60 Monday Top 6 presented by Bet on Football. More sports and no more cowbell because I'm banning it from the conversation. Say goodbye, Matt.
Only if you show the cowbell.